Welcome into the preseason finale here at FedEx Field. The Washington Commanders hosting the Cincinnati Bengals for one last matchup before the regular season. This is a live look at the field on the only Commanders pregame show, and we are taking up the kickoff here at Command Center. Game Day Live. Michael Jenkins here with Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm hot.
We're hot? We're hot, but we're still getting it done. We wore black. I don't know if that was the smartest decision.
Straight up and down, we here, man. You know what? It's not our fault they gave us this black.
That's exactly right. Well, there are going to be some important decisions tonight when it comes to these coaches evaluating these players. What are some of the things you're going to be looking for?
I think some of the things I'm looking for is just seeing who are those guys that say, look, regardless of what's going on throughout the season or throughout this preseason, I'm going to make a difference tonight. And you got to think about it. If they're on this team or not, there's other guys, other teams that's watching. So I'm going to be watching those guys who are here making a statement saying that if I'm not here, I'm going to be elsewhere because I went out there and made a difference in this last preseason game.
And for some of these guys, I mean, this is it. This is their one final chance to make an impression. Some of these guys, they know the run. Other guys, this is it for them.
Yeah. I mean, some of these guys come in here and, like Fred said it best, this might be the last time they ever play football. Yeah. So you have to go out here and leave your stamp. And I was one of those guys that never had to, fortunately, I never had to sit here and worry about playing this last preseason game. But I love sitting back and just watching those guys, man, that laid it all on the line. Some of those guys, that just everything was basically, it was all or nothing right now. I'm going to go out here and play my best football tonight, and whatever happens, happens.
We're going to see these guys in just moments here on the field as the Commanders get set for their final game of the preseason. It is here at FedEx Field. Kickoff set for 6 o'clock over on NBC4. Santana, this is our last chance to see this team before that season opener against the Cardinals on September 10th. And overall, how important is it just to get in the work?
I think it's very important. One of the things people fail to realize is that, we get caught up on where guys get injured. I hate when you speak it, because when you speak that into existence, then 9 times out of 10 guys will get hurt. But this is football. We play football. I told you before, I played for 14 years. 13 of those 14 years, I played in at least 2 or 3 of those preseason games every year. And I look forward to it because I felt like I had to get myself ready for game 1, week 1 of the season. So I don't get caught up into the hoopla of should these guys be out here or not. If coach is putting you out there because he want to see more, and just get in and get out. Don't think about getting hurt. Think about putting some work out there, some good work, put some good stuff on tape, and then you can get out of the game and sit back and do what I say I do best.
So do you think too much is made of that when people say, oh, my God, this guy played 1 quarter, this group played 2 quarters? This is up to the head coach, and it's team-specific, right?
It's all about what you feel fit for your team. You have guys like Rodgers playing in the 4th. He playing this last game this week for the Jets. So teams pick and choose where they want to see their guys. And it's not about who you're going up against. It's about you just getting those mental reps and getting your body back into them, to that mode of saying, this is going to be me in 2 weeks. Yeah. You have a week off, so this is going to be me in 2 weeks. I'm going to be out here in live action, and I can't just get ready at the snap of the finger. I have to get it now, get it in right now.
We're taking up to game time at 6 o'clock over on NBC4. Position groups, a big part of our discussion during the preseason. What position group are you going to be focusing on tonight?
Well, of course, the wide receivers. I think the wide receivers have been the biggest talk of this camp. You have so much talent there. I think a lot of those guys can make or break their chances tonight, especially on the special team side. And I think another position group is the defensive line, when it comes to our depth. Who's going to be those guys that we're going to add in? We have 2 young guys. We have Andre Jones. We have KJ Henry. Will these guys make the 53-man roster, or will these 2 guys be one of those guys that we see on the practice squad that we might pull up later on in the season? But I think those 2 stand out. We can talk about the DBs as well, but it's a lot of groups that have some big names. And I think it's a great problem for our team to have, because in a long time I haven't sat there and been this confident about so many other guys. It's always 2 or 3 guys here and there, but this year it's guys in depth. I mean, you have 4 or 5
I was going to say that
across the board.
Fireworks going off here as we carry up. We didn't even jump. We just went right on through it. It wasn't a big deal. But when you talk about different guys, that's a luxury, I feel like, that you touched on, that this team hasn't had in a while, be it at defensive line, defensive back. There are some position groups that do have some serious depth. Receivers, another.
Yeah, I told you before, it's something special about what we're brewing. And I think when you look at what Ron has been saying for so many years, it's going to take this amount of time, the 3rd year, the 4th year. Who cares how long it is? But I know when you're trying to build a championship team, it don't happen overnight. I've seen plenty of teams that had to go through that mud, had to go through that, those dark days, and I feel like we've had them. We've had them for way too long before Ron got here. So you're starting to finally see now all the development of certain guys who've been here, and then us drafting great guys. That's key. Drafting those guys and bringing those guys in as free agents. I think our team did a great job this past offseason and the season before. Now it's like, hey, do or die. Let's see what you got.
And I think this year, opposed to years past, not only are we talking about it, other people are talking about it.
Yes.
Not that the media has the right pulse on everything, but you can see other people are saying, hey, we've watched Sam Howell, we've watched this Commander squad, this is a different bunch.
You know when you're doing something right, because nationally
right.
it's spoken about.
Right.
You know, when you're out here playing and you're not doing nothing, locally we bashing each other and we're just talking about the team locally. But when the national eye gets gets to see you and say, hey, these guys might have some, that's when you know you're doing something right.
Well, one position group, or just not the offense, just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about Sam Howell, we try not to hammer him home, but he really has been the surprise where you see pundits who have watched the quarterback play for this franchise for a long time saying, this looks like the real deal.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it. We've had a carousel door when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yep.
And I've been here for some of those years. 10 of those years, you know. And to finally now, you know, I heard Ron speak on it. He say this is the first time that he hasn't had to worry about his quarterback. People took that a little differently. You know, what I think that he was talking about is just, you know, it's been an emphasis every year in the offseason or in the preseason where we questioning the quarterback that's going in. I'm not saying that Sam has arrived to the point that where we're not questioning him.
Sure.
But you don't hear much hoopla about it because you've seen him play. You've seen him be productive. So when people see you be productive, then that's less we have to speak on you negatively. So I'm happy about what's going on here. I have a good feeling about Sam. I'm sure the receivers have a great feeling about Sam. And I just want to see him go out there and play and show this stuff well.
Well, we certainly saw the offense get it done on Monday night against the Ravens in that thrilling finish. And let's take a look back at some of the offensive leaders from that game. We mentioned Sam Howell. He was fantastic. Almost 200 yards in that game. 19 completions against Baltimore. Found the end zone twice, once against De'Ami Brown and another time when he found running back Antonio Gibson. Chris Rodriguez, the rookie running back, led the Commanders with 31 rushing yards on 5 carries. And, man, Jahan Dotson has just been a man on a mission in the preseason, leading the team in receiving with 76 yards on the night. Speaking of receivers, here's what the QB1 had to say, and Ron Rivera, about that very deep group.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many weapons, and you know, we have. And you said 7 guys, but we have 20 guys. You know, obviously, probably can't keep them all, but we have so many guys that can make plays with the ball when they get their chance. So really, all I try to do is just try to get the ball out of my hands as quickly as possible, and give those guys a chance to do what they do best. And I'm just so blessed with the talent I have around me for sure.
I saw some real grit. I mean, a lot of guys are competing, and they know it. I mean, it's a good group. You know, this is one of those positions that, you know, you feel really good about the back half. You just know that these are a bunch of young guys that are competing, and they want to go out and they're trying to make this team, and they're scrappers, they're fighters. You know, they're a good group of young guys.
For more on our wide receivers, let's check out today's Air Power presented by the Air National Guard, proud partner of the Washington Commanders. You heard Coach Rivera talk about it, the Commanders' receiving room. So much depth during the preseason. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel have looked sharp through training camp and joint practices. But tonight, a chance for EB to really solidify that depth and secure his lineup. So you know a thing or two about this position, I would say, Santana. Of course, what have you seen? What really has stood out to you? Not just the talent, but maybe the little things they're doing differently.
I think some of the things that stood out to me thus far, you know, I don't get caught up on the guys who know what it takes to be on this level. I watch the guys behind them, and already we kind of can see that the guys that's coming in the game behind the top 3 or 4 guys, it's no drop-off.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going out there making plays. I've been to many camps where you had the young guys that's trying to make the team, and they just didn't have what it took. You know what I mean? You saw them, they go out there and drop balls, not running great routes. So that's a credit to the wide receiver coach, and that's a credit to those guys that's setting the tone before them. But you see so many of those other guys, Cass Allen, Tinsley, all those guys, Tremaine, all those guys coming in and not, you know, missing that step. They're saying, hey, let's go out here and make a play and put our footprint in this game as well.
One part of the offense we don't talk about much, at least we haven't thus far, is the O-line. But that's how you know the O-line is doing its job, because against the Ravens, when Sam was throwing those quick routes, those quick passes, he was getting the protection that he needed.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things about the O-line, we know they're stacked. And every year seems to be like one of those positions or that position group that it's like a, you know, revolving door as well. You know, it's almost musical chairs. You know, you see new guys at every position, and we have guys that play multiple positions. But one of the things that stands out or that has stood out the second preseason game, and we could talk about who was up there, who didn't play on the other side. I care less. Those guys protect the sound, and that's key. When you see those guys come in there and play well, that's when you know you have depth and you know you have guys that you can lean on and trust. So I'm looking forward to seeing tonight, because a lot of those guys who probably, and I think Coach might play some of those starters
you think
tonight.
So?
The offensive line, you know, I don't think none of the other guys, but I think Coach might play some of those starters because, you know, we have to lean on Brissett a little bit in that first half and then probably let the other guy go in the second half. But some of those guys are probably going to be 2 and 3 guys, but also guys we can lean on. If somebody go down, they might have to step up and be number 1.
Man, we got a little bit of shade here, man. This feels good. Little breeze for a little bit. But we're going to continue to talk about the offense for a few moments, and I think that this is something that we talked about at Command Center, which is there are a really small number of slots on this team available. We tend to look at it like, oh, there's all these positions open. Not really. There's just a handful of guys competing for a small number of spots.
But that's what you want. That's what you make of a good football team. When you have, you know, not many opportunities, then those guys who are going to go out here tonight and play, like I said before, if you don't get chosen here, somebody else going to watch that film. So the job is on the line regardless of how they look at it. I'm pretty sure no guy's coming to this game saying that, well, this, all the spots where I want to play at is all taken. I should just lay an egg. No, these guys are going to play like their life depended on it, and I'm looking forward to seeing some good football.
Well, and, you know, some of these guys, you made a good point earlier in the week, which was some of these guys will show out, and this is what makes a coach's decision so difficult. You know you can't keep everyone, and you know you might be letting someone go who's definitely going to find a place elsewhere.
That's a good problem to have.
Yes.
And one of the things that Fred said that stood out to me is you might have your eye on a guy or two, and it's someone totally different that shines tonight. You know, it happens every time, man. And like I said, as a veteran, being in these shoes before, sitting back on the sideline, I was the best cheerleader because I wanted to see so many guys have the opportunity, man. This is a dream of a lifetime. A lot of kids dreamt of this from day one, like myself, and this is the only route that we have to take care of our family. So I love to see these guys have this opportunity, but I also love to see those guys who you really didn't think had a chance go out there and give themselves an opportunity.
Tana always brings a great analysis. If you want to see more of that from Tana, Logan Smoot, you got to check out the Command Center podcast. Comes out each and every week. They give you all the analysis that you need on your Washington Commanders. You can check out the Command Center pod on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. You can see the team still getting ready for the preseason finale tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals. Kickoff set for 6 o'clock from right here at FedEx Field. When we come back, we are talking all things special teams, and we're going to catch up with our captain, London Fletcher. You're watching Command Center Game Day Live with nonstop live pictures from FedEx Field. We'll keep them up for you during this commercial break. Stay right there.
Dad, we're going to be late.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
In-play betting, because a lot can happen in 4 quarters. You can wager on the spread, game props, player props, totals, and the money line. Bet365 is the world's favorite sports book for many reasons. In-play betting is just one of them.
Are you on your way?
Yep, coming.
And Mom and Dad?
Don't worry, they'll be there.
Happy anniversary!
Go beyond the expected with the #1 most dependable mass market brand 3 years in a row by J.D. Power. Kia, movement that inspires.
One bag.
The winter play was really coming together. Until disaster struck. Tensions were high. Luckily, replacement costumes were shipped with FedEx, which means Mr. Harvey could picture the perfect night. We're ready for the holidays, so you're ready for what's next.
Have fun, sis.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
The vibes are high. There's new energy. This is my center of the NFL universe. Optimism and, of course, the best fans in the National Football League.
Make sure you guys spend a little time saying thank you, okay? It's important that they know we care about them as much as they care about us. So thank you.
Nothing better than having the fans out to support the team during training camp, and we are stoked to see them out here tonight. Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live. This is a live picture of FedExville with the Commanders gearing up for their final preseason game of the year against the Bengals. So let's take a look at the conditions for tonight's game. It is time for your Game Day forecast presented by NBC4. We are working for you, and man, it is going to be a hot one. 91 degrees, a low of 73, feels a lot hotter. We should not get any showers with just a 10% chance of rain. And one more look at the field. Our special teams guys getting ready for game time. We're going to bring you live coverage up until kickoff at 6 o'clock on NBC4. Back on set, Michael Jenkins, Fred Smoot, Santana Moss. Smoot, what's going on, man?
I'm feeling good right here.
Okay.
The last dress rehearsal. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's also kind of sobering because it's some of these guys' last chance to make an impression on these coaches. Not just our coaching staff, but the rest of the coaching staffs around the league. And there's also some veterans last time ever playing on a professional field. So it's sobering in that way, but exciting that this is the last time we got a dress rehearse for the real thing.
Well, some of the guys who are already in midseason form, Joey Sly had a game-winning kick, and that just goes to show, hey, that was a thrilling win. Forget about preseason, and it just highlights how important special teams can be.
Well, that's the main reason why a team like Baltimore had that streak, because kickers don't take the preseason off.
Right.
Kickers kick. And the one thing they always have is a great second-string quarterback, great depth, and a good kicker. So Joey Sly showed you, you got a good kicker you can trust, you can win any game. You're never out of game.
And Santana, as you know, even if you don't make the squad, particularly as a receiver, for example, you can find a spot on special teams.
Yeah, you got to find a spot on special teams. I think some of these guys already know that. They come into this season knowing that this team has their guys at my position. Now, where can I make a difference at? That's why I say I pay attention to, especially those receivers that play my position. Who's going to be that gunner? Who's going to be that punt returner? Who's going to be that kick returner? Who's going to run down on kickoffs? Find as many spots out there that other guys don't want. So find yours.
Well, that's what I loved about Danny Smith. Danny Smith always told guys, and Mike Sellers always told me the same guy. Danny Smith told me, if you can't start on offense, you can't start on defense, you can start on special teams.
Absolutely.
And that's the third level of the team. And that's how I know, that's how I can read this roster and know that it's only 3 or 4 spots that these guys are vying for right now. But if you start at the gunner, or you starting on the kickoff return, you know right now you're going to be on this roster when a lot of guys don't.
Who are some of the guys maybe on the bubble, but who really helped themselves tonight?
I think Casimir Allen, Patterson, the guy that I love. I think he can only add on to the things he wants. A guy like Wild Goose hasn't had a lot of good games. Can you make a good impression tonight? So it's a lot of guys that in rotation. And let's talk about the parts of the team that the strength is. And we're talking about the D-line. That's a very deep room. That means we're going to have to cut some very good players in that room. You're talking about from the defensive end spot to the inside spot. I think people forget last year Fedarian Matthew was a 2nd-round draft pick. Right? And don't forget we got Ridgeway at the beginning of the year. So you got depth everywhere there, and that's the scary thing about this league. Great teams cut good players.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that stand out to me. You have spots, like I just said earlier, I said, at every position.
Every position.
It's so much depth, but that's what letting you know you have a great team when you have a problem like this.
Return specialist, that's something to keep an eye on tonight. Kaz Allen, that's one of those guys who he made an impact in his first couple days, but needs to keep doing it.
This is one of the things that's going to separate him from the other guys. You know, you can't sit here and worry about where I stand as a receiver, but that's one of his hidden talents as well. But as a punt returner, and even if he showed that he's a kick returner, you know, we have Jonathan Williams, who I want to see run kicks. Yeah. I mean, he's a great running back, but why don't we use him back there as a kick returner when we're not using him in the backfield? You have guys like that we have on this team. I want to see both of those guys get a shot, but Cashmere Allen, he's one of those guys that I think he would separate himself from the rest of the pack if he does well tonight at being a great return specialist.
And another thing is, if Curtis Samuels is a Porsche, that means the closest thing we got to another Porsche is Cashmere Allen. Yeah. He mimics everything he does, from wide receiver to inside slot to actually lining up in the running back and running out of the backfield. So he does all those things and more. He's a guy. Does that mean I'm get a chance to fight back tonight? Yeah. And do they let him return some punch to say, you know what? Make this an open competition. Give me a chance to show that I can make this team. Wide receiver is another way he makes this team. But special teams give players a chance to be special, and this is the time you do it, the third preseason game.
Smooth, good to see you as always. Try and stay cool, man.
I'm going to try to. I feel like rotisserie right now.
He baking.
Always great seeing Smooth here on the set, and each week we catch up together on the Get Loud podcast presented by SeatGeek. We talk about everything. I'm talking football, pop culture, life off the field, everything. We talk about it. It is the Get Loud podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your pods. Fred caught up with London Fletcher and Pro Bowler Jeremy Reeves during Commanders Media Day, and it looks like a ton of fun was had with All-Pro Revo.
We're here with Jeremy Reeves right now, coming off a Pro Bowl year, coming off a year where he showed everybody who he really is. First of all, at the end of the day, brother, tell us how you feel coming off that year and coming off a year where you prove people that you belong. Not only do you belong, but you here to stay.
You know, it was a blessing. But at the end of the day, like, last year don't matter. Yeah. We here now, and now that's all that matters. So it don't matter until you do it again, right? Yeah. So,
you right about that. Yeah, and not only are you here to teach people and to lead. Right. How do you feel being in that position right now? Because you came in this team your first couple of years trying to just make the damn team. Right. And now they looking up to you. Like you got guys like Emmanuel Forbes and the rest of these guys looking up to you. Right. How did that feel?
So full circle moment, that's for sure. You know, like you said, I came in and I was kind of the guy that was watching other people and having to learn the different ways. Sometimes I've been on the side. And so now to step into the role where I'm the guy that can kind of, you know, show the ropes to these young guys and teach them the things that I've learned along the journey, not just for the drafted guys, but the undrafted guys as well. You know, that's a blessing. You know, it just goes to show you, man, like you stay down and you waste your turn, and then, you know, when it's your turn, you got to take advantage of it.
Yep. Fred, you didn't introduce him correctly.
I did?
No.
Tell me what I did wrong.
This is All-Pro Revo. Yeah. First of all, you did. You said Pro Bowler. Yeah. All-Pro Revo. Hey, man, listen. Obviously, you made All-Pro last year. Right. Off season, I know had to be a little different. You went home. I'm sure. What was it like as an off season? The viral video, being recognized. I'm sure a little bit more.
You know, like I went back to. I live in my hometown. That's where I always go after the season. You know, I got a house there, so the response from when I went home this year compared to the years I went home the previous years was way different. I can't go nowhere back home. I can't really do that without everybody noticing me or like, hey, you so and so for the video. I'm like, yeah, that's me. So it's been cool, man, honestly, just to see, you know, all the hard work and everything that I had to kind of go through to get to that point, kind of come back full circle, and, you know, just to see how proud my city was of me and, you know, how supportive they've been that whole process. It was really cool, man.
What a story Jeremy Reeves has been. We're pumped to see what he's got in store for us during the upcoming season. And you got to stay right here because when we come back, we're diving into the defense and we're going to bring back our captain, London Fletcher. It is Command Center Game Day Live, the only Commanders pregame show and the only one that gives you a continuous look at the team getting ready for action. We're coming right back. We'll keep the camera up for you the entire time. Stay right back.
Dude. Fire. Grillmaster, huh?
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Summer won't last forever, but during Toyota's national sales event, you can make memories that will.
Come on. There you go.
Whoa.
Where's my mom?
Just be in the moment.
Buy a RAV4 with special financing as low as 3.99%. Or pick a spacious Highlander with as low as 3.49% on select models. Toyota, let's go places.
Football is back, and that means touchdown for toppings at Paisanos. When the Washington Commanders score, you score all season long. The day after the game, get free toppings for every touchdown the Commanders score. If they score 3 touchdowns, you get 3 free toppings. It's that simple. So let's all support the Burgundy and Gold, because more touchdowns equals more toppings. And who doesn't love free toppings? View this and more online at paisanospizza.com.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
It's 4th down, seconds on the clock. He hands it off, finds a hole in the middle. Clear, nothing but Brian moves! A touchdown for the win. I can't believe it!
Pizza, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live. We are here at FedEx Field getting ready for the Commanders' preseason finale against the Cincinnati Bengals. Kickoff getting underway at 6 o'clock. Michael Jenkins back here with you. Santana Moss as well. Let's talk about the defense. Defense. What has impressed you most? You go a lot of different ways here.
You know what? The defense have really showed flashes in our secondary alone. This preseason. Those guys that have been getting in the second group, the second-year players, Butler, Christian Holmes, guys that played in the special teams last year a lot, that's now showing and saying, making a case for themselves and say, hey, maybe I could be in the lineup, maybe I could be in this rotation. That's amazed me. And then just the depth on our defensive line, it's going to be scary towards the end when it comes to this final cut for some of those guys. But like I said before, it's a great problem to have because you see guy after guys going in competing for their jobs. And two of the guys that has showed flashes, you have William Bradley King, I believe his name is. I'm always mixing his name up. We had another guy that had three names as well last year. And then you also have Andre Jones that we talked about the entire week when we was up there playing against the Ravens, scrimmaging against those guys. And then that led over into the preseason game. All that group is doing is making it hard for these coaches staff. And like I said before, I can't iterate this enough. That's a great problem to have.
What do you see out of the linebackers? It's easy to focus on D-line and DB, but we always sort of skip over the linebackers from this group.
One of those teams that doesn't have a real need for that position. And I hate to say it that way because, and trust me, I'm not a defensive guy, but the way we play football, we have more defensive backs on the field. Now, we do need the linebackers here and there when it comes to certain, rundowns because we need those guys to do. And Jamin Davis has done that. Barton has done just that. It's a couple of guys, Hudson, Milo, Eifert, I always pronounce his name wrong. He's another guy that has showed flashes, but he's a guy as well that can play special teams, that can maybe solidify his spot being a linebacker here. That position is going to always be that position because we're so strong up front and we're so heavy in the back end that you kind of forget about those guys inside, but they still making the plays that we need them to make.
If we're going to talk defense, we got to talk to London and Smoot. It is the best seat in the house, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Jinx. Smoot, we out here talking about our favorite group, the defense.
Yes.
We all know what the defense did a year ago. Top 5 in a lot of different categories. They went out and they added some pieces to the mix.
They did.
They started with the first-round pick, your boy, the former Bulldog, Emmanuel Forbes. What do you think this defense is going to be like this year?
Well, you know what? The question is, Lundy, can they be the reason we win? You know, one thing Greg Williams tell us all the time, no, let's not worry about the offense.
Yes.
Let's be the reason that we come out here and win this game. Top 5 in most categories last year. But if we look at these games and go down that list of the games, how many games they were the reason they won the game?
Yes.
I think with this front end and this back end being attached the way they are, injecting some youth back there, not just Emmanuel Forbes. Quan Martin made a hell of a play last week. So injecting that youth back there behind these guys, because sometimes, you know, like we know with young dogs, sometimes you don't know better to do better. You just go out there and play.
I'm glad you brought up Quan Martin, the second-round draft pick out of Illinois. Very versatile player. He played the safety, played the nickel back last week. He played the nickel. The first game against the Cleveland Browns, you can see him make some rookie mistakes just in leverage and maybe being giving too much respect to the receivers. But what I love is how he made the adjustments. You saw the fruits of that work that he put in leading up to the game against Baltimore. And for him to make that play that he made in the end zone on that interception, what do you see from Quan so far?
Well, the thing about it is, when you think about Quan Martin, think about slow and steady. He's a guy that they asking to learn 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, nickel, free safety, strong safety, outside corner. So I'm not looking for him to just flash into playing like Emmanuel Ford. They saying Emmanuel play outside, left and right, play to play, not Quan. They asking him to do some things that can shape this defense. So what I really did like about that play, he never gave up. Now, he got beat off the line. He never gave up, and not only did he just stand, he had the awareness to feel the ball touch him and go get it. So he's a guy that's only going to get better. He's that plus. Think about this. You got St. Juice. You got Fuller. You got Forbes. You got Danny Johnson. Quan is that plus that comes in it. And don't forget about Cam Curl, because he's the guy that makes everything go. Like, he's the engine of this thing. Remind me a lot of Brian Dawkins. Not build, but I'm talking about –
that's lofty.
But I'm talking about what he brings to this defense. Like, he is the identity of this defense, especially when you get from behind that D-line.
I'm going to talk about Cam's running make. The one that I feel like gets overlooked more than anything.
I already know where you're going.
Man, I love me some
I
Defoe.
I love him too.
And I don't know if it's the Ohio thing.
Yeah,
but
it's
more
it's
than that.
Ohio basis.
It's more than that.
He earns that.
It's more than that, because I didn't know a lot about him, coming out, and didn't know a lot about him until I started calling the game last year. And each week I started watching him. He had a bunch of plays in the first game against the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And that really just kind of set the tone for the season that he was going to have. And what I've noticed about Defoe, he was always, a playmaker. It seems like the leadership side, the vocal side. You see not only in his body language, we talk about a lot about nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
You can see that in Defoe and his nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
How he's communicating with his back end guys. To me, I think he's going to be have a breakout season.
The new school call it swag. He in his bag, and he found his swag. Now, think about this. I did know about Defoe coming out because he played in the same defensive backfield with Sauce Gardner. At one corner, he had Kobe Bryant on the other corner, and I think the other safety got drafted too. Yeah. So they had a very, very talented group. Now, he's a guy, I watched him, especially in the red zone. If you go back and watch any of the red zone tape, he covered up for a lot of mistakes in that red zone. So he's one of those guys. He's on to get better, but he got the Rodney Dangerfield effect because he got so many stars around him. He just don't get no respect. So he's going to go out there. He's going to continue to make them plays because he has a chip on his shoulder.
But one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to hype him, continue to talk about him. And we talk about the playmaking skills. When you're a safety in this defense, you have to be extremely smart.
Yeah, you do.
I won't even just say safety. If you're in the secondary, you have to be extremely smart because of all the different things they do post-snap. A lot of defensive players or defensive backs, they want to know who I got. This my man, this my cat.
Y'all go get the pass.
Regardless of what the routers run, I got him. But with this matchup zone and matchup man concepts that we run defensively, you got to kind of work things out. You got to have a lot of communication.
You got to use your eyes. You got to have a lot of eye discipline.
Exactly.
You got to see what you see and process it. Not only do you have to process, you got to process it in microseconds while you watching the play unfold. It's simply when you're playing a 3-match. Let's just say you got 2 slots on this side. You got speed over here. They want to go 15 yards and switch route.
Right.
All right, I got to carry that post and hand it off to that free safety and wait on the out route. That's the difference in the nuances of this defense.
Speaking of handing it off, Smoot, we're going to hand it back off to Jinx.
Thank you, London and Smoot. Speaking of this Commanders defense, let's check out what these young DBs did against the Ravens on Monday night. Quan Martin, that huge interception in the end zone that he returned for 59 yards to go along with 2 tackles. Kendall Smith got himself a pick as well. And Smoot's guy, Emmanuel Forbes Jr., continues to impress. Had that open field tackle that had everyone talking. All right, let's go back to these defensive backs, specifically Forbes, Quan Martin. What have you seen out of these young rookies?
You know what? One of the things that stood out the most to me about both of the guys is this isn't too much for them. You know, most of the time you see guys that come into this league and they need a break. They need a year. They need a redshirt year. Forbes, he's everything that Smoot said
he's been great. He's
I
been
know
great.
It's only preseason,
yeah.
but he's been just what Fruit told us from the start of, you know, this offseason when we was talking about who should we bring in. When you look at Quan, he's had some trouble here and there, but I love the way he responded last week. That was big. That was big to see him go out there and make a play like that in a critical, you know, moment of the game. Because you know what that does? That click on that switch of his confidence to say, I've arrived. I'm here. I can play at this level. Regardless of who was in the game, like I say all the time, I'm here. I'm on the NFL stage, and I made one of the biggest plays of my career in the preseason already.
Those are the big names because of where they were drafted, but then you have Christian Holmes and Percy Butler, and you're going to be watching those guys tonight as well.
Those guys are going to be here. I feel like something about Butler and Christian Holmes just says that they are here. You know, Christian's one of those guys that we can rely on to be a gunner. He can go down there on kickoff return. I mean the kickoff team. He's just a guy that looked like, you look at the guy, he's an action figure look like. But he makes noise every time he's on the field at cornerback position or either on special teams. So I love their makeup. I just want to see who's going to come out of that group other than those 4 guys we're talking about.
Well, let's gear up for kickoff presented by Fanatics. The Commanders team store is a Fanatics experience and a game coming up at the top of the hour on NBC4. We can't wait for that. Check out these items. All right, here we go, man. We got some, what is this? Dry fit shorts here.
We got the shorts.
We got some T-shirts.
T-shirts.
And that hat right there, I was going to say.
You know, I had to wear it. I couldn't just let it sit up here. You know, I took my hat off. You know, Maddie passed me the hat, so I had to, you know, do what I do when it comes to him. But some nice stuff, man. You know?
We got the QR code on your screen. Click that. It'll take you straight to the team store. Or if you're here at FedEx Field, drop on by. Get whatever you want. Some great items, as you can see.
I'm taking this home with me, too.
He's taking that hat home. You're not going to get that one. Coming up next here on the show, we are not done yet. I'm going to get Santana's Spotlight players and his keys to a successful preseason finale. That is next on Command Center Game Day Live, the only Commanders pregame show which has your field pass to the action. We're not going to let you miss a moment, even during this commercial break. Stay with us.
The design is stunning. The power, breathtaking. Turbocharged to chase down dreams. With an instant top prize of $50,000. And a second chance top prize of $150,000. More than enough to buy a real Corvette. The new 2023 Corvette Cash Scratch-Off from the Maryland Lottery. Take it for a ride.
Hey, it's me, food. I'm so much more than just what we eat. I'm hand-cut, fresh and frosted. I love it. Aw, I love you too. See, life is always something new. All messy, frantic, and amazing. And from where I sit, you look delicious. That's why every day is worth celebrating. If you can. Stay fresh. Sincerely, food. Sincerely, Safeway.
Hey, big man.
Go ahead.
Dave told me you got some kind of great system for betting that really works.
That's true.
What is it? Is it like home dogs? No. It's bird mascots.
No, I just use FanDuel's responsible gaming tools like time and spending limits to manage my play.
That's the system.
Hasn't failed me yet.
Cool. You know what, man? I'm just gonna keep this between you and me.
It's not a secret, Bob.
Every bettor has a system. Make FanDuel's responsible gaming tools a key part of yours. It's more fun that way.
You're going to like this story because it's about you. You who forgot to charge your phone last night. You who sprints to the boarding line so your bag will fit. You with him. Until one day you boarded a United plane that was designed for, well, you. And your phone got charged, your bag fit. So did everyone else's, but this story isn't about them. Your toddler didn't tantrum and you got to fly happily ever after. The end.
Pick an item, see if it's gonna float.
I wanted to float. That's cold, man. That's cold. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I'm like 100. I'm like 1 for 1, right? This floats. That floated.
This will float.
Won't float.
Oh, this will definitely float.
That floats. This floats.
That's right. That is floating.
Float. There we go.
This should float.
Fish float. And this definitely floats. Here's your helmet.
Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live. We are taking you up to kickoff at the top of the hour on the only Commanders pregame show in town. Back with Santana Moss. We know tonight's game is an important one. We've talked a lot about position groups. But what is a group, maybe a player that you just did not see coming, and you're like, this is one group, or maybe one guy on the roster that really surprised me more than anyone else?
You know, I've been receiver heavy throughout this whole preseason, talking about Cass, Tinsley, you know, Pringle, all those guys, you know. But I think it's a guy that we haven't spoken a lot, Bryson Tremaine. He's wearing my number, the number 89.
Oh, watch out there.
And one thing about 89, they show up when it's time.
Yep.
So Bryson Tremaine will be a guy that I believe is going to make a splash tonight. I think he's shown me growth throughout every preseason game, even throughout practices.
Yeah.
I'm watching him. This guy, he's the first guy on the field, you know, before every practice, getting himself warmed up and ready. That's rare from a young guy. So I'm hoping tonight he has what it takes to go out there and make a case, you know, say the case that, hey, I might have an opportunity to play here.
Well, it's time now for your starting spotlight delivered by Grubhub. If you're in attendance here, don't forget to order food from your seats. It's nice and easy. Use the Grubhub QR code on the back of your seat. No fees are applied. In fact, we have a special delivery straight from Grubhub. Look at this. So what we're going to pick out here is your spotlight players.
Yeah.
Reach in there. There's the delivery. And let's begin with, we've been talking about him all show, your guy, Kaz Allen.
Okay, my first guy, Kaz Allen. I think he's one of those guys that you have to watch. He's going to separate himself tonight, or at least try to separate himself tonight, make a case or state his case and say, hey, I'm going to be your for sure punt returner or kick returner. We also know he can play receiver pretty well, and like Fred Smoot said, you got a Ferrari and Samuels, this guy might be a Porsche.
All right, who else?
KJ Henry. Now, he's the guy we haven't talked about a lot this preseason. Tonight might be his night to say, hey, coaches, I know I haven't showed up yet, but tonight I'm going to get a chance to play the entire night, so I might make a case to say, at least I'm going to be on this practice squad. He's a young guy, so we have a chance to keep him around regardless of what he does tonight, but I think tonight will be special for him because he gets more opportunity to go out there and start his stuff.
I love this one, by the way. Absolutely love it.
Number 3.
There he is.
This guy here, they try so hard
They're trying
year to get him out the door. But JP said, hey,
he won't go
not so fast. He's a guy that I feel like has special talents, but this team might not be the team for him. But he keeps showing up and making his team say, hold on, we don't want to let you go. So let's see tonight if he gets the opportunity to show the world again that maybe I'm special enough to be here, or maybe someone else out there needs my duty.
Would love to see him make the play tonight. Don't forget, you can use the QR code on your screen to get fed at home. Get yourselves some Grubhub. We are minutes away from the Commanders and the Bengals here live at FedEx Field. Kickoff coming up at 6 o'clock with coverage on NBC4. Tonight wraps up the preseason, which means it's time to gear up for the regular season. Commanders fans, you are invited to join us as we kick off the upcoming season on Friday, September 8th. In Franklin Park in D.C. for our season kickoff party presented by Bud Light. We're going to have giveaways, performances from the marching band and the command force, meet and greets with Washington legends. Major Tutty's going to be there, even a few current Commanders. We love Tutty. Best of all, it is free. You can learn more and sign up to attend at commanders.com/kickoff party. All right, this is it. Final preseason game for the regular season. How do we finish the regular season on a good note?
I'm going to treat it like a regular season game. No turnovers on the offense, and make sure we turn the ball over on the defense. Go after that ball, we shall win.
We're looking forward to that. We'll be here after the game on Command Center post-game live. That is Santana Moss. I'm Michael Jenkins. We'll see you on YouTube, X, and Facebook after the game. Let's go, Commanders.
Left hand up.